Good morning, and I'm Ron here in Tokyo, and we got some good response yesterday. I am a compiler of news. This is not live in the Ukraine, so the news I'm putting together is my opinion, and I would like to just share that. So let's get started. There's 3 items we're going to talk about today. Friendship, 17 ways you can help, and Canada, UK, and Netherlands in talks to see what they can do for humanitarian causes. Sensationalizing violence or showing video of violence might not be productive, but let's look at the chance that we can help the people in the Ukraine. So I'm gonna just show different ways we can help, what some countries are doing, and friendship that's been created. Even though we're in a war, there is an opportunity that we can see that we can help. So first, let's look at the news here, and I will share the screen. So in our help for the news, we are going to see here with the UK, Canada, UK, and Netherlands discuss humanitarian coalition for the Ukraine. This is great news. Countries are coming together and seeing what they can do to help people. And again, Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, Boris Johnson from the UK, and the Dutch Prime Minister, Mark Rutte. And he's there, you can see on the right. So they're meeting in London in North Holt, and they're trying to see which ways they can help deliver humanitarian aid. And this is great. Instead of just gathering forces of the military to fight against Russia, what can we do in forms of humanitarian? I'll put the link of that below if you'd like to read it further. But some highlights. Boris Johnson invoked the Battle of Britain as he opened a bilateral meeting Monday with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as the 2 leaders met to discuss the rapidly evolving crisis in Eastern Europe. The 2 leaders were also on hand for the arrival of Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, who is joining them for further talks later Monday. The 3 leaders are discussing Johnson's proposal to create a humanitarian coalition of nations. 1 point in a 6-point plan the UK has put forward to address the crisis, where the mounting civilian death toll has caused widespread outage. So here you can see the Russian-Ukraine agenda.
Justin Trudeau arrives to Europe in the midst of the greatest security challenge it's faced since the Second World War. This trip is meant to demonstrate strength and solidarity between Canada and its allies, but pressure is building for NATO, for the democratic world to do more. The Prime Minister will meet with world leaders in the UK, Germany, Latvia, and Poland, and also visit Canadian Forces members stationed in the region. Tomorrow, he'll hold trilateral talks with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson and the Dutch Prime Minister, shaping all his meetings the increasing nuclear threat Russia poses. With that attack on a facility in Ukraine earlier this week, and Russia's army now closing in on another, the situation is becoming more urgent by the hour. The humanitarian crisis, also something Trudeau wants to show leadership on, hoping to build a coalition of nations to support the hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians, now refugees in neighboring countries. There have been questions about why Trudeau is spending time talking to nations already in lockstep with Canada instead of outreach to those criticized for not doing more to push back against Putin. Senior officials say those conversations are happening and multiple diplomatic channels are being worked simultaneously. Travis Ganrash, CBC News, London.
And that's great news. And another item that's come up is this story about refugees continue to pour into Poland 11 days after the Ukraine. And this news is shared from the CBC in Canada, and all rights belong to CBC in Canada. The refugees continue to pour into Poland 11 days after Ukraine was invaded. And this is a great story because it's 2 people trying to make friends. Kristina Goncharvo and Ludmila Kuzmian in Prez meet Poland on Sunday. As we wait to travel to Stuttgart, Germany, they met at a crowded train station, Lviv, Ukraine, as they journeyed through the country to escape the war. So people are making friendships, and these are just great stories where they're just people are bonding together, even despite ages and circumstance. So they were amongst the 750 people at the station. And both women left their homes with few possessions. Here is my handbag, where there are documents, passports, and medical supplies. And there are things that I packed very quickly, a change of clothes. The same is in my backpack. That's it. Kuzmina, who is from Kiev, said through a translator. Gorchava wears a vest over her jacket that she got from piles and piles of donated clothes. So that's another great point, how people can donate to this cause. So I'll leave this story link in below as well. And the last story we're going to look at is 17 ways that you can help the people of Ukraine right now. We're just going to briefly go through them. I'll put them in the link. And then if you'd like to look further, please use the link to see what you can do. So let's go through some of them. The Ukraine Red Cross, which does a lot of humanitarian stuff, from aiding refugees to training doctors. The British Red Cross, which has launched an appeal to raise funds for foods, medical supplies, shelter, and water. Revive Soldiers Ukraine. So, which funds medication and medical supplies for army hospitals on the front line. Nova Ukraine, a Ukraine-based nonprofit that provides civilians with everything from baby food and hygiene products to clothes and household supplies. These are great opportunities amongst the 17 listed here where you can get involved. So this is an opportunity for you to do something, not just read the news, good points and bad points, or to hate this leader or hate that leader, but these are actual opportunities that you can take some of what you'd like to do and help some people. So these are, you can see here, I think these people are possibly in near Poland, giving out the food, or one of the places near the Ukraine, giving out food that's been donated, and a lot of ways it's poured in. Let me just go through a few more. Sunflower for Peace, which provides first aid backpacks to doctors and paramedics on the front line. Voices of Children, a charity which focuses to help children recover from the psychological trauma of war. Doctors Without Borders is a well-known charity. Kiev Independent, a Ukraine-based English language paper, not to toot your own horn, but journalism can be pretty important. Help keep accurate news reported from reports coming by donating to the Kiev Independent. Project Hope, a humanitarian organization that provides medical supplies and assistance. International, International Medical Corps, which is already on the ground delivering medical and mental health care. An international aid organization aiming to provide food, water, hygiene, kits, social services. UNICEF, another well-known organization. UNHCR, and UN organization focus on Ukraine refugees in Ukraine, Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia. Save the Children, Choose Love, specifically help, BPOC. There's been a problem with African students who've been in the Ukraine where they felt they were pushed aside for people because of their skin color, so this might address that. And finally, Airbnb, which is looking to donate a different type of donation. The charity arm of Airbnb has pledged to temporarily house 100,000 people fleeing the conflict, and it's looking for people to volunteer their homes. So this is quite amazing. There were some reports as well of people showing up at the train station with signs to say, we have places to stay. These are great causes. And if you know any, please put them in the link below. We need to get this information out there. There are other credible and great sources, but I wanted to just highlight a few great sources coming from the CBC and some that I found online. This one was sourced from Time Out. It's out of Canada, but it's 17 great ways that people can help do something now. This is Ron here in Tokyo, not live in the Ukraine, giving you some news that you can use. And if you can't use the news, I'm sorry. There's other great news sources. But please have a great day. And thank you for joining me.